allegedly sent a dick pic to my stepmom.
Okay.
Okay. My dad is no longer with her, and it's been years since I've seen or spoke to her, but I told everyone at work, Ric Flair sent a dick pic to my stepmom. And then we were all drunk one night, and they wanted to see it. So I messaged her out of the blue, asked to see it, got no response, lost all of my credibility with all of my colleagues.
Yep.
Eventually, I asked her again, like, where's this dick pic? Because I'm sure I would have saved that. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah,
and she was like, why would you say that about me? Like, how dare you say it on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. That never happened. Why are you making things up?
Is this your first real-world blowback from the podcast?
No, I don't. That wasn't from the podcast. I said it in a Facebook comment. I was like, I'm still waiting for Ric Flair's dick pic.
Still, put that in a Facebook comment?
Still waiting for Ric Flair's dick pic. I lost all credibility. No one believes me now. And apparently according to her, it never did happen. So I'm like, what the fuck? And then I asked my dad. It definitely happened. It definitely happened.
Well,
she told me that herself. I remember it vividly.
I was going to say, where did you hear of this dick pic?
They were both talking about it.
They were both
It happened while they were together.
Dude, she's just trying to, shape reality into a world where she didn't receive a dick pic
I think
from Ric
it's
Flair.
A deeply repressed memory.
It might be. I mean, some people, existence and their memory, and maybe, the two were tied together, is pretty elastic.
But I always had this little, almost like a GIF, like an image in my head of his old gray dick just popping up and being like, woo! And I just loved that thought, Do
you think he doesn't like manscape?
Well, I just think his dick's old and gray. I don't know.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, his hair is starkly white.
This is true.
The man is old.
I just feel like, it's kind of like, when your beard turns gray, maybe then you shave your face a little bit more, stay youthful looking a little longer.
Dude, my dick's gonna look like Gandalf. I can't wait.
Mine already does.
Gandalf the Grey.
Yep, I don't have a gray dick for anyone interested, but
no one's interested.
I do have a little blue robe and wizard hat for him. So
that's the thing. You can buy little outfits for your dick, and I support it. Penis puppeteers.
That's an art that has definitely fallen out of.
What happened to those guys? I thought they were going to make it big.
What happened to those street artists performing?
Exactly.
They got locked.
They got locked up. They're gone.
They got locked away.
Well. Speaking of...
welcome back, folks. Welcome back.
Welcome back to Far Out Flicks.
Yeah, it's your host, Chaboy Andrew.
I am Braden, and we hide our last names so that we don't get essentially...
So we don't have Facebook blowback or Instagram blowback or any of that.
Listen, I don't need people making a penis puppet out of me.
I had to change my Instagram handle to remove my name so I could like our posts on there without fear of being discovered.
So he's one of the 5 Andrews that follow our Instagram, if you want to really track him down.
I took my name out of it.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, it's not in there anymore.
Clever.
I don't think I've liked anything of ours yet.
I can't wait till I can go full-time with the podcast. Last name will be in there, and all of my true thoughts and feelings, which are terrible.
Dude, we will have headshots on the website. We'll have more racy photo galleries for the Patreon subscribers.
The penis puppeteer. Files. Oh boy, you could finally see Andrew's Gandalf costume.
Yeah, you can
all its glory.
marionette my dick around with one string. It's kind of a one-note act, but
Mine's more like the dwarf from Lord of the Rings. I forget what his name is, but
this Gimli. What? How? Oh my god!
Mine's Gimli.
You forgot the dwarf's name? It's like I don't even know you.
No, it was kind of far out. The Hobbit or the Lord of the Rings. Was it the Hobbit or was it the Lord of the Rings? The cartoon version was kind of far out.
It was, I think most people, remember The Hobbit. There was Lord of the Rings cartoons made in the same style.
But it's The Hobbit that I'm thinking of.
Everybody knows The Hobbit one, though. I feel like a lot more kids were exposed to and allowed to watch that. I think it also sequentially came out before the Lord of the Rings.
Which makes sense to me.
Animated adaptation.
It's how it's supposed to be.
It is how it's supposed to be. It certainly didn't need to be a trilogy, you know.
No, that was a bit much. That was a bit.
That was a
For
lot.
Dune,
That
it
was a
makes sense. For The Hobbit, I was like, all right, there's too many songs. Is
Dude,
this
you
a
can
musical?
read the book faster than you can watch the trilogy. I mean, like, it's crazy.
Accurate. All right, but what are we doing today, Andrew? This is an Andrew pick for you listeners.
So you guys
Classic
know it's going to
Andrew
be good. Classic Andrew pick from a director that I just like can't stay away from. Pretty much every time we do one of his movies, it's because I force it. But this one's lighthearted in my opinion for his body of work. Although it's all just so much fun. I'm talking, of course, about John Carpenter. And this week, we will be doing Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes.
So, other than Total Recall, I think this is the first action movie. So, we're like on an action movie kick right now. Because this has very... It's heavy-handed in the martial arts and action sequence department compared to some of our other choices. But
we're doing a lot of 80s action flicks.
We are. Although Total Recall was
1990.
technically... Yeah.
Still
it's like
very
a whole
much
other
in the
decade.
80s style. It wasn't Rush Hour. Like
It was
90s.
The 90s buddy cop? The 90s buddy cop movie?
buddy cop film.
No, and we'll do one of those sooner
Arguably
or
started
later.
by Lethal Weapon, which was 80s, but...
This is true. When did Die Hard 2 come out?
Good question. Don't know.
I don't know either. That one's up there too.
But yeah, honestly, I think this might be John Carpenter's most fun movie for me. I'm sure, I already know your favorite one is The Thing. I kind of like it.
I mean, I love them all. And here's the thing is I also really like In the Mouth of Madness. I can't wait till we redo that episode, now that
I think we got to
good.
revisit some of those early ones.
Yeah.
We
didn't do them justice.
We blew our load too early.
Yeah, we got, i.e. we got drunk and couldn't function.
I also really like, which one was I about to say? Escape from New York. That was
Escape from New York is super fun.
That VHS was on heavy rotation in my household.
The Duke of New York, a number one, man.
Which, interesting, I learned this week that Kurt Russell based his portrayal of Snake Plissken off Clint Eastwood, and Jack Burton, the main character in Big Trouble in Little China, he based his performance on John Wayne. Which makes sense when you think about it. It really does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'll bite with that. And of course, Snake Plissken being infamously the kind of source inspiration for Solid Snake.
Oh, interesting.
Oh yeah, dog.
Well, this one
Haircut
also
and all.
has some heavy video game influence.
It does, man. It feels like my early childhood memories of going to like an arcade and playing like Double Dragon or something like that.
Mortal Kombat is what I was thinking of. Heavily inspired by this film. You got Raiden, who was directly inspired by what were they? The Storm. The Storm.
Yeah, the three storms.
The three storms. Who had the hats.
Mm-hmm.
Who they were inspired by the three assassins from Shogun Assassin or Lone Wolf and Cub, which I don't know if you've seen. That's one I want to do. That's like
I've seen Shogun Assassin.
So it's based off Lone Wolf and Cub. I think it's actually just a compilation of the first two Lone Wolf and Cub films, and they just kind of redubbed them or whatever.
And for our hip-hop enthusiasts at home, Shogun Assassin is
the Jizza.
The Jizza's Liquid Swords sampled like super heavily from that film, and it's like, it's so sweet.
You must choose the sword or the ball. If you choose the ball, if you choose the sword, you will fight with me. If you choose the ball, you will join your mother in death.
It's joined both times, but you were damn close.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck. Well, I'll get it right when we finally do our Shogun Assassin episode.
Yeah, we'll get it fucking perfect.
But the hats are the same. They have the same hats.
The
giant field worker hats that I don't know if those even really exist in real life.
Yeah, and this movie has it all. It's got dungeons. It's got fucking magicians. It's got kung fu, and it's got kind of a bumbling hero, which I like. I'm a bumbling hero. I bumble my way through life every day.
It also has a mystical old Asian man who understands the secrets of the universe, which so many 80s movies had this guy.
In the colors are just like so vibrant in this film, and it just goes with the 80s well.
I was thinking today, I want his tank top so bad. How badass would you feel rolling up to like a pool party or something wearing that?
Well, right now I was telling you before the show, I'm deeply sunburnt, so just the thought of going to a pool party is horrible. It's nightmarish, but yeah, I also want his hat. I think his hat looks pretty sweet too.
The trucker.
I want his whole get up. He looks cool, and that's the point, right? He's kind of this cool cat who's really like a sidekick, you know. But
yeah, that's kind of what they
get into that.
Tried to portray him as the sidekick, but he still kind of steals the show. I mean, if you were to add up all of his lines of dialogue next to, I mean, who is the main character if he's the sidekick? It's Wan Chi, right?
It'd be Wang.
Yeah, so I mean, if you were to total all of their lines of dialogue up, I'm sure he has twice as many as Wang Chi.
He does. But that's like the point, is he like thinks he's a leading man, you know. But we'll get into that.
We'll get into it.
We'll get deep into it.
But yes, did I say that we already talked about how we're doing 2 action films in a row, but one of the screenwriters from Total Recall actually was the original screenwriter of this film, which is kind of fun. So there is some crossover there. It basically had to be rewritten extensively, even though the original screenplay does sound awesome. It was set in like 1880s San Francisco, like a Wild West movie with a heavy Chinese mystical influence.
That would have been pretty sweet too. I'm not gonna lie. I would have bought into that.
Some elements were still there in this film. There were a few like essentially like Western style showdowns, but John Carpenter read that screenplay and was like, "This is god awful." But he liked some of the ideas, you know. At least it got the wheels turning, and they ended up making it contemporary, and I think that was just cheaper. Totally honest. But yeah, first of all, I love those old kung fu movies. I've seen a lot of them. This one's directly inspired by all of those. It was basically like these new wave Hong Kong films from the 70s that combined martial arts and like cool special effects and flying around. But yeah, some examples of like the kung fu movies. I mean, and John Carpenter took some things directly from these and put them in this movie. But there's The Master of the Flying Guillotine, which that movie looks fucking awesome. I haven't seen it, but I will watch that this week. I just will. It's on YouTube. And then I've seen a bunch of the other ones, The Flying Meteors, and a bunch of early Jackie Chan films before he kind of like had breakout success in America. John Carpenter originally wanted Jackie Chan to be Wang Chi, and couldn't get him, unfortunately, because the studio, his English wasn't very good, and he wasn't successful in Hollywood at that time. But
and who did play Wang Chi?
Dennis Dunn, who he's not in a whole lot of things, but he's in Year of the Dragon, The Last Emperor. He's in a few other films, which I thought that was like a real martial arts guy. When I was kind of looking into him, it looked like he had more of an acting background, but he does good kung fu shit in this, really.
Oh yeah, and just to get into some of the other cast, we already mentioned Kurt Russell as Jack Burton, kind of our protagonist here. Kim Cattrall is Gracie Law, who is Jack's love interest. She's
mixed feelings about her.
I couldn't disagree more. I was watching this and I was like, she was nailing the Scarlett Johansson vibe. I mean, maybe not like personality-wise within the film, but that's just a character.
I do believe watching her in Police Academy was one of my first boners, and I remember it vividly, but not really my type now. But maybe on some subconscious level, I was feeling her when I was like 12.
Great. Well, Gracie Law is definitely my type. Well, we already did Wong Chi.
Yep. Then we got David Lopan, our villain, is James Hong, who's in a million things. He's in Blade Runner,
very,
Chinatown.
Very prolific actor. Yep.
He's actually in Everything Everywhere All at Once, that new movie where he plays Gong Gong, the angry old grandpa character in the wheelchair.
I really need to see that movie.
I know, I keep talking about it. I really enjoyed it. But he's also in Mulan, Kung Fu Panda, just a bunch of stuff. Then we got Victor Wong as Egg Shun, who's kind of like the protagonist. He's been fighting... Egg Shun's the crazy old Chinese man who has like one squinted eye who was in everything at that time.
He's the peasant wizard.
Pretty much. And this movie came out right around the same time as The Golden Child. He's in that. He's very, very identifiable as the mystical old Chinese man who's in a bunch of movies. Interestingly, I was doing some research into Victor Wong, and this guy's like fascinating. He was actually a beatnik artist who hung around with like Jack Kerouac and Lawrence Ferlinghetti and like the City Lights bookstore and all that stuff, which I love. No kidding. That stuff. And he's actually a character in Jack Kerouac's book Big Sur, which I've read. And he's just in a ton of movies. He's in The Last Emperor, You're the Dragon, Tremors, Three Ninjas. He's the grandpa in Three Ninjas.
Tremors, that's where I knew him from.
Tremors. Yeah, dude. Yep. He's in a million things. And interestingly, you know the prologue of this movie where he's like in the lawyer's office?
You leave Jack Burton alone.
So that was not in the original script. The studio wanted that because they wanted Jack Burton to be more of a traditional hero. And that was not part of John Carpenter's vision at all. But interestingly enough, right before, I guess like the week before they filmed that, Victor Wong's son was walking down the street and he was attacked and killed. And he came directly from his son's wake to film that scene. And then after he filmed that scene, he had a stroke, his first stroke, which is pretty wild. So a lot going on in his life at that time. Another interesting tidbit about him is that his sons were in New York City during the 9/11 attacks, and he like couldn't get in touch with them. And he stayed up essentially like all night trying to reach them and like watching updates. And he ended up having a heart attack and dying that day.
Oh my God.
Of 9/11. Which is pretty wild.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's terrible, and that guy is legendary.
Well, that's a pour one out kind of moment.
Sure. We lost an essential character actor who played every mystical old wise Chinese man. As Miao Yin, I believe I got that right, Susie Pie, and that lady is hot.
Yeah, no, you will hear no arguments from me there.
She was in both Penthouse and Playboy, and I spent extra time researching her. A lot of research was done.
Hours and hours of
just
hours
grinding
of
out that research. But yeah, she has like no dialogue in this film. She just looks attractive.
Yeah, she pretty much doesn't talk at all.
She just is the hot, supposedly Chinese girl who... It's hard to tell if she's even really Chinese.
She has green eyes.
Well, it's interesting because her and Kim Cattrall in this film, they're both like the green-eyed girls who... They talk about their green eyes so much. Neither of them
So
have
much.
green eyes.
In real life, no.
In real
Green eyes are the rarest eye coloration.
I have heard that.
Yes. So it makes sense that it's very coveted in the lore of this film.
Interesting. It's kind of like how albino people in Africa are coveted for their magical properties.
Yeah, but like that's the wrong kind of coveted. That's like the,
Arguably, the way they were coveted in this film was the wrong kind of coveted.
You're right.
They were kidnapped.
It's wrong in both instances.
And being harvested for their magical properties to bring Lopan back to a human form.
God damn it.
We'll get
like
into
basically the same thing.
We'll get into it. It's kind of the same thing. But yeah, another fun fact, actually, we already kind of talked about this, how Braden was inspired by the Three Storms. But Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat was also inspired by Lo Pan's character.
That makes total sense.
Makes total sense. So, like, without this movie,
Holy
Mortal
shit.
Kombat would be wildly different. It almost seems like a lot of the themes came directly from this movie. And
Everybody knows that Scorpion is fucking king in the original game, though.
Scorpion's good. And basically, what was it? Johnny Cage. He was basically Jean-Claude Van Damme. He even does like his signature move.
Yeah, the nut punch.
The
dude.
nut punch.
Yeah, the nut punch. He does the split and fucking cock punches somebody.
I'm surprised we haven't seen that in MMA yet, but I guess that's probably illegal.
It's not. Yeah. It's not allowed.
That would be epic, though. I'd watch that highlight reel.
But in a street fight, everything's fair. I mean,
True. No, I mean, no. If I'm in a street fight, I'm not a fighter. I'm going right for the nuts. Leave me alone. That's my purse. Kick him right.
Yeah,
in the
I don't know
fucking
you.
nuts. I don't know you.
So,
Bobby Hill, shit.
Bobby Hill, yeah.
But yeah, the influence of this movie is everywhere. I think there's a Rick and Morty. I know you're a Rick and Morty connoisseur. There's a Rick and Morty episode based on it. Thor Ragnarok, directly inspired by this film.
Which, like, I enjoyed the Marvel movies. I did. I'm, like, pretty over it overall. But Thor Ragnarok was, like, a standout piece in that collection.
That's what I've heard.
Mind.
I did not... I've enjoyed some of them. I was never a big Thor guy. It's just not... He was not in the front of my consciousness even as a child.
Thor is so fucking cool, though. I mean, he's, Norse god. Just goes around and he's just like a general Chad. Fucking...
Does less for me than, like, someone who's not a... I never liked the ones who were super powerful and godlike, like Superman.
Oh, dude,
Thor.
I fucking watched The Northman. The Northman is so fucking badass.
Have you watched it?
I did watch it.
What?
It's available on Peacock right now.
Oh, nice.
It is. It's fucking sweet. It's
showing off all your subscriptions.
I don't pay for that one even. That one is a bummed account.
So you watched it though, and it was good.
I did. It's super sweet, and I feel like it actually has a lot in common with this film.
Interesting.
There's sorcery. I mean, not really. Actually, not at all. But
all right. Well, you tried. You tried to draw.
There's a protagonist. There's some magic and shit.
I heard there might be a sequel of this film. What'd you know?
Yeah, I saw in our research that as recent as 2018, there was discussions for it. Reportedly, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was going to be attached to the project at one point, but I guess like the last that it had been discussed, there was no intention of getting rid of Kurt Russell by like recasting.
Yeah, it looked like The Rock wanted to be Jack Burton, which that's fine, but that would not be Big Trouble in Little China.
And Kurt Russell's still alive, and he still looks like Kurt Russell.
Yeah, he's still awesome.
Just CGI some like fucking young man muscles on him.
I really like The Rock. I have a lot of respect for him. I don't want him to be in Big Trouble in Little China 2. I just don't. That's not as the main character.
I don't think so either.
It's just not going to work. Even John Carpenter, I saw a quote from him where he was like, yeah, I have mixed feelings about all that.
Yeah, I mean, some things just don't need to be redone or like recast. You know, I guess it's like has two meanings, but you get what I'm saying. Like, we don't need to see another fucking Jack Burton.
No, I hate it when movies recast the main character for a sequel. That never works.
I mean, we talked about how much fucking Total Recall the reboot sucked, and it did.
I mean, for a reboot, it makes more sense than for a direct sequel.
Sure.
I mean, you expect it for a reboot. I still, I don't want them to make a reboot of this either. You couldn't.
I don't think they can capture the same kind of magic if they try to do a reboot. We're out of the 80s, man, and
And this is extremely 80s. 1986, by the way, and it's extremely...
Dude, a bunch of this would probably be considered, fucking insensitive at this point, if you were to try and make the film now.
Maybe it would be. I have no idea, but it's like an all-Asian cast, which you wouldn't even ever get in 2022. To be
honest. I mean, very
I guess everything everywhere all at once kind of breaks that boundary, but
yeah, that is very topical right now. You can't stop fucking talking about it.
I know. Well, it was fucking good. Go watch it.
It's like the third episode in a row that you've
probably more uplifting than the Northman. I want to see the Northman. I want to see.
Dude, the Northman made me feel
dark and depressing.
It is not dark and depressing. It is fucking sweet and action-packed, and it makes your inner Viking want to go fucking live out your destiny.
Take berserker mushrooms and just slaughter.
I mean, that would be part of the experience, yes, but there'd be other things too. There'd be witchcraft and,
fair.
Reclaiming what's rightfully yours, what was stolen from you, your birthright.
Well, eventually we're going to do that movie. We could talk about it at that time, but it's based off this Norse mythology that Hamlet was also based off of, so it's kind of like this. We'll get there. We'll do that one of these days.
We'll get there.
When it comes out on HBO Max, I'll finally watch it, okay? I don't have Peacock.
I mean, I could give you my passwords.
All right.
For a price.
Your brother's passwords?
My brother's passwords.
That'd be nice. Well, anyway, so, dude, we didn't even talk about the special effects of this movie, but they're pretty sweet also.
Yeah, let's hit that real quick. The special effects were done by Boss Film Studios, which were, I guess, kind of a competitor to ILM, which is Industry Light and Magic. They did a bunch of movies that I do like, but they're kind of like other big film of the 80s was Ghostbusters, which is obviously, cemented in the movie Hall of Fame.
Also, it had extremely good special effects for that time. I mean, that was a standout,
Indeed. But they also had a hand in Die Hard, Poltergeist 2, fucking Heat in the 90s.
Ace Ventura 2.
Yeah. Twins. Fucking Twins.
Oh, fucking I love Twins.
Like, do the Arnold connection there. Dude, Twins is such a great movie. Alien 3, Last Action Hero, True Lies, Species, Waterworld. Fuck, Waterworld. Even though that was, much like this film, a critical failure. And critical and commercial failure.
I love Waterworld. And I love
too.
Dennis Hopper in any villain role.
Oh, and Starship Troopers. That's fun.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they made the transition to CGI, which I feel like is difficult for a special effects company from the 80s. But this one kind of had a nice little mixture of both, You had the lightning effects, which
were a lot of green. I love just
a lot of
vibrant green special effects, whether it's a slime or a lightning bolt or a cloud. I just like the vibrant green.
Yeah, the old Chinese man, he's constantly throwing out little explosives that explode with green stuff, right?
Yeah.
Then you also got a lot of good practical effects in this movie. You have the troll monster.
Oh, yeah.
Who looks... thing looks like it directly inspired the trolls from Skyrim. I don't know if you picked up on that, but they look exactly the same.
Very, very similar.
The eyeball monster.
What was it? The Guardian or whatever.
Yep.
I think they called it that. That actually was one of the most difficult effects of the entire film. It took like 12 puppeteers to do that.
I saw the penis puppeteers do that one once, and they put some googly eyes on the ball sack, and it was basically.
I just realized that like we're just like totally touching on South Park's cock magic.
The penis puppeteers was real. I saw it on HBO as a child, and I was scarred. And I remember
it is real.
That's
it's a real thing.
That is a real.
We were not just fucking around at the start.
That was real. That was real. I saw it on HBO as a child, and I can to this day I can still do the hamburger. That was, many of them required extensive amounts of foreskin, which I'm lacking in that department. But so I'm never going to be able to do the Eiffel Tower. I'm just never going to be able to do it. The penis puppeteer version of an Eiffel Tower.
This is a real thing.
It's a real thing. I mean, I don't.
It's actually puppetry of.
I'm literally watching Andrew right now, and it looks like he's Googling it. Which
I did Google it for sure.
It's real. Again, I could do the hamburger.
It premiered in I don't even want to know what the fucking hamburger is. It premiered in 1996.
It's real.
I don't want to know anything beyond what the Wikipedia page is telling me right now.
I could see the reflection in his eye, and he is looking at.
Curious.
He is actively looking at the hamburger. I can see the reflection.
I'm penis
in his
puppet
pupils.
curious right now.
I identify as puppet curious.
Oh, yeah, the show... All right, from the Wikipedia page. The show involves two nude men who bend, twist, and fold their penises and scrotums into various shapes. That's,
I'm surprised they didn't... I wonder what happened to those guys. Again, possibly in prison. It's not the kind of street magic most people want or expect.
Nor is it the kind of, like, magic trick that gets you very far in prison, I imagine.
I don't know. I mean, you might be quite popular.
It's something. It is something to look at.
It's something to look at. I'd imagine after doing that for a few years, you just have, like, a mutilated freaking... your dick's
it's just all worn out.
Stretched out. Like an old sock.
I was going to say old sock. The elasticity is just all gone.
Anyway,
well, I'm glad that we've now spent like two different 3 to 5 minute segments of the show talking about penis puppetry.
It's real, and
it is real, folks.
Check it out, people. Check it out.
Confirmed. Anyway,
but yes, back to Big Trouble in Little China.
Yep.
This movie kicks ass. It was kind of a commercial and critical flop, unfortunately. But it also kind of came out at the same time as James Cameron Aliens, which that was a big film, And there was a lot of hype and marketing money behind that, and the studio just didn't even know how to promote Big Trouble in Little China. It's a very singular, kind of bizarre film. Let's give the audience a brief synopsis of what this movie is about, because we've talked about the production enough.
We've colored in all that, the fun background info. So the film is ultimately following our protagonist, Jack Burton, initially going into Chinatown in San Francisco. And, basically we start out... there's the whole prologue, which we already talked about, with Egg Shin, basically saying, like, you leave Jack Burton alone, basically, and that we all owe him a great debt.
He saved San Francisco, Chinatown.
But a city block did blow up with green fire.
Right. Important
details. But basically, the movie starts with Jack Burton gambling with his buddy Wang. Is it Wang or Wang?
I think it's Wang in the movie. I think
it's Wang in the movie. It would
probably be pronounced Wong, but it's whatever. Doesn't matter.
So I'm going to say Wang because that's what they say in the movie. And it's also
It's
like
fun to
everybody
say.
Wang Chung tonight. So he's won a lot of money from his friend Wang Chi, and he basically says like, let's double it or nothing. Over $1,000 already. Let's double or nothing. If I can cut this bottle in half with this, it's really like a machete, but he calls it a knife. So Jack, gives him a different bottle. He tries to cut it, and the bottle shoots into his hand, which is demonstrating something very early on. But if Jack Burton has one thing going for him, it's that he's got fast reflexes. And that is, a line that we will get to later in the film.
That is his one talent.
That's his one talent. Other than that, the guy just fucking falls his way up through every situation.
He makes
But
it
anyways,
work. He makes it work.
But he's got great reflexes.
And he's got style. A lot of style.
A lot of style. He's lots of bravado, lots of machismo. It's almost like a caricature of like injecting, like an 80s action hero into like a 70s kung fu film, kind of.
Sure. I mean, and he's a trucker, and he's just a badass.
Yeah, he's an owner-operator trucker, too. He don't work for no man. Just he and the road. He also does this like whole monologue thing where he's talking into a CB radio to start and end the film. And he, it's like he's almost like a shock jockey, like radio host almost. I mean, not like shock jockey. He's not, going full Howard Stern, but he does sound like he's like hosting his own radio station.
Just to the other truckers.
Just to the other truckers. Or anybody with a CB. I had a CB at one point. So, anyways, upon Wang Chi losing the double or nothing bet, he reveals that he can't pay, and that he's like, oh, I'll pay you later, and more or less like because Jack wants to get paid, he gets roped into going with Wang Chi to the airport, where he's going to pick up his fiancée,
Miao Yin,
the beautiful Miao Yin, who
Penthouse Pet of the Month.
They reveal immediately that she's, Chinese girl with green eyes, and it's very rare, and it's,
so she's coveted
special.
for her magical properties.
Yeah, coveted for her magical properties, much like a rhino's horn or something.
Which makes your dick hard. That's why they all want it. I don't know if that's true. I just made that up.
A pin real fast. Rhino's horn. Just kidding. I would never do that. That's fucked up. Rhinos are awesome animals.
Yeah, how
I'm
dare
pretty
you.
sure they're like mostly endangered.
Dude,
like almost all of them.
I mean, I feel there's at least one of the subspecies of rhino. There's one left, and it will be the last one, unless it gives a miracle birth.
Indeed. I mean, it's they got to be reproducing better than pandas, right? Like anything's better than the panda repopulation efforts.
The rarer and more endangered it is, the more magical it is. Just like the girl with the green eyes.
Dude, once upon a time, exterminating a exciting exotic new species of bird would like get yourself a giant oil portrait somewhere in some like adventurers club,
Right?
Like with you just like cudgeling the last one is the like
good old
being
days.
The motif of the art.
The good old days, killing the last
The
dodo.
good old days. Yeah. Exactly. There's a real world example. Also like whaling. Whaling is, wiped out a lot. And then we killed a lot of buffaloes. Anyways. Although I don't know how many people got, well, surely some famous American explorers had oil paintings commissioned of them, and they contributed to the extermination of the buffalo.
I mean, that's what, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's what Buffalo Bill is famous for. Anyway.
So anyways, Jack and Wang go to the airport, where they encounter this street gang who, just like, again, every movie we do with street gangs, it's like they all have these fucking crazy get-ups.
Oh, yeah, it's very much, what's the Warriors kind of style. Yep. Very kind of silly version of street gangs, where they face off in large groups.
They have, like, they're wearing glasses that look like the goggles that, like, you wear. I've never done this, but I've seen movies where it's portrayed. Like when you go inside a suntan booth or whatever.
Yes, it looks like he's about to view an eclipse, a solar eclipse.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, honestly, those are fly.
X-rayed.
Those are fly.
Solar
I was
eclipses?
admiring those.
Oh, the glasses.
The glasses.
Say, yeah, I
the
think
glasses.
solar
Not the
are
solar
pretty fly.
eclipse. Those are stupid.
So, anyways, Jack, being the machismo man that he is, inserts himself into a situation with this street gang, the Lords of Death.
Good name for a
case,
gang.
It is a good name for a gang. And like one of the goons pulls out a fucking butterfly knife and is just like whipping it around, kind of intimidating, moving on Jack, and Jack's just kind of backing up. And like one of these other street gang goons fucking leg swipes him, trips him, and then this is just like when everything goes off the rails. The street gang grabs Miao Yin and whisks her away. Also of note in this scene, and this will be like the last scene that we just like painfully go through everything. But we're introduced to Gracie Law, who we talked about earlier. She's a attorney who is soon to be Jack's love interest.
First boner.
First
that I ever had.
First boner. So anyways, Jack and Wang depart the airport and they track the Lords of Death down to Chinatown, where they interrupt a funeral procession with like these two gangs that start fighting.
Yes, two Chinese gangs facing off in the streets of Chinatown.
Yeah, and it's just like a very sweet, very action-packed, very person-filled kung fu scene. There's a whole lot of fighting, a whole lot of dudes fighting each other.
Dude, and it's so much... I like the kung fu action scene so much more than like a gunfight. It's so much better. I mean...
It's so much better.
There are fun things in the gunfights, like in Total Recall, where he uses the innocent man as a human shield and stuff like that.
That's great.
But...
That's quality entertainment.
But there's something to be said, especially the fights in this movie are like absurd, where they're like flying through the air, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon style, They have magical powers, essentially. It's over the top. Super over the top. But yeah, the rest of the film, they're trying to get back Miao Yin. That's like the whole kind of pretense for the adventure.
Indeed. So anyways, they're sitting in the truck watching this fucking, showdown go down. You like that?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Showdown go down.
It rhymes. I get it.
Yeah, I know. I'm a fucking poet. And, it looks like like one of the gangs is wearing like white and yellow robes and the other one's wearing black and red. It looks like the white and yellow dudes are like, rounding a corner. They're kicking ass, taking names. And then like from the sky, there's like an eruption of lightning.
Yes, and this is when the three storms come into play, right?
Yes, thunder, rain, and lightning.
Thunder, rain, and lightning, and they have giant fucking hats. Giant Chinese farmer hats.
Huge.
They look exactly like the three assassins from Shogun Assassin. Watch that.
A family of four could seek shelter under one of those hats in a rainstorm.
Yeah, they're convenient. Imagine if you had had one of those yesterday. You wouldn't be sunburned right now at all.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't
giant
be pink
straw
as a lobster.
hat. But yeah, and they have magical lightning powers.
And they all do like these very ornate, martial arts sequences, processions when they're introduced. And every time they do like the classic like like the exhale.
They're doing Tai Chi and doing all these little routines.
Yeah.
Which,
It very much looks like a karate competition in a strip mall karate.
Except
dojo.
lightning shoots out of their hands.
Yeah, and they're obviously much better at it than like, some fifth grader who is losing interest in karate by the day.
Who's
but
about
still
to smoke
continued.
weed for the first time and
he's
quit
gonna
martial
drop.
arts altogether.
Yeah. Instead of going through life with a strong sense of discipline, he will start podcasts about movies and
right.
gradually get pudgier and pudgier into their 30s.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Or is there?
Don't tell us if there is.
But yeah, what happens next?
Well, they try to drive the big rig like through the crowd to like more or less just get the fuck out of there. It's time to get out of Dodge. And as like the three storms like clear, kind of like step out of the way or whatever, all of a sudden there's this new kind of mystical entity that is in front of them. This is David Lopan, and they just drive straight through him.
It was essentially, yeah, he's like a ghost almost. I mean, he's like a Chinese ghost. Chinese depiction of a ghost.
Well, I was gonna say they touch in this movie that like the Chinese belief systems is like an amalgamation of things, right? Like they take some and they leave some, which you've explained that to me before as being like somewhat true.
Right. Well, my wife is Taiwanese, who is essentially ethnically Chinese, and yes, a lot of that, they're Buddhist, they're Taoist, but there's also a heavy dose of just ghost religion in there. And there's
Ghost
a lot
religion.
of stuff about ghosts in their religion.
That's my kind of religion, ghost religion.
There's a lot of stuff about ghosts. Like, they believe in that shit. And yes, I was watching this with her, and she was like, yep, this is like a typical ghost movie, Chinese ghost movie.
Ah, all right. So there's a layer of authenticity.
That's what they will look like, a ghost in a movie like that.
So anyways, they run over this ghost, David Lopan, and he is unfazed despite having a big rig having just driven over him. And he does this weird thing where he has like beams of light kind of like start shooting out of his eyes and mouth. But it's not like Cyclops beams of like lasers or whatever. It's more like kind of like
blinding light.
Tubes of blinding light.
He blinds Kurt Russell briefly.
All it takes to fix it is just some fucking disgusting alley water to be splashed in your face.
He splashes a puddle of water in his face. He's like, okay, I'm good now.
Dude, I'll take the magical blindness over having some fucking like weird street alley water.
That's how you get amoebas that eat your retinas.
Dude, that is exactly how that happens.
You gotta watch out for those flesh-eating amoebas.
Yeah, who knows like what kind of fucking shrimp juices had like worked their way into that puddle and festered there for hours.
But essentially,
maybe.
they escape, but they end up leaving the truck behind. So that's kind of like another subplot. He's trying to get his truck back.
Yeah, that's what keeps Jack in the game.
Right.
You know?
But yeah, so then they go on this adventure. I mean, they go back. They find out more information about Lopan, and they talk to Egg Shun, and they're like, all right, we got to go basically to the underneath the Chinatown, there's this whole underworld. Like a literal underworld.
Before they like depart, though, they go to Wang's restaurant, where they like regroup with Gracie, and they introduce Gracie's journalist friend Margot, who just like, I mean, I'm not gonna say that she's unattractive, but like,
don't be a pig, Andrew. We don't need more people accusing us of being pigs.
Well, all I'm saying is it's like very overt throughout the film that Jack like doesn't particularly care for Margot. like when she's introduced, she chimes in some information or whatever. And he's just like, "Who are you anyway?"
That's kind of what I was feeling. I felt her and her love interest were kind of unnecessary characters. They really were. I was like, we now have too many characters.
Indeed.
There was no need for her. She was just the friend of Gracie or whatever, but little unnecessary.
So I don't know, there's some explaining of, the Chinese mysticism, and then basically they put together a plan to go infiltrate a brothel to try and buy Miao Yin before she is purchased by somebody else.
Right, because they're assume that she's been kidnapped into the sex trade. Which, when they get there, I don't think they ever see her, but they do find out she is in there. And,
yeah, they send Kurt Russell has to go in undercover as like a skeezy,
John.
loser business. Yeah, exactly. Skeezy businessman who's a John, who's, looking for a good time.
Nothing wrong with that.
But he hams it up in that scene.
Lopan, I love all the scenes with Lopan. He's played excellent. I love his portrayal by James Hong, but he's always basically making these like sex analogies, which are real fun. But he's he says Yao Min, she's the girl who can tame the burning blade.
He also he alludes to Jack. He's like, you seem like the kind of man who knows the futility of men and women.
That's
which,
hurtful.
you know, just rings. Well, it rings a very personal note to Andrew. You know, it's like, oh, wise ancient Chinese demon ghost. You know, his millennia of experience is just telling me what my experience is telling
he's
me.
been around a while, and he's in touch with the mysticism and all of that. So
if he says that men and women can't live together, you know it's true. So one thing that I liked about, like, once they kind of get like captured or whatever, and they get like where they get captured is they fall down like a shaft into this weird fucking
the water like
or
fills up
whatever.
the elevator.
Or no, it's from the elevator. It's from the elevator. They escape out of an elevator after it fills with water after getting stuck in. It's an elevator going down, like
It only
into
goes
the
down.
earth. A lot of floors only goes down, but they get stuck at one point, and the elevator floods, and they get out, and it's this like weird fucking drowning chamber. I guess there's a bunch of people, a bunch of skeletons with their necks chained to the floor and like water to the ceiling. So it's just a bunch of bodies, and like. Speaking of flesh-eating eye bacterium, like, you'd probably get some nasty bacterium there, too. That's a lot of floating corpses.
You don't want to be
Can't
in
be
water
good for the
with
water
dead
quality.
animals or humans.
It's revealed that David Lopan is intending to sacrifice Miao Yin, and that's how he's going to, like, return to physical form. Because, again, he's just a ghost right now. He needs her blood,
he needs to
as was
inject her
prophesized.
with a needle. Also very symbolic,
Indeed.
possibly. But
Indeed. And
Go
he...
ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say,
No, you go ahead,
Gracie
go ahead.
also has green eyes, so she kind of becomes the second green-eyed girl, which, I don't know, is that fulfilling the prophecy, or is that just a little extra, a little icing on top of the cake, you know?
It's like double, dude. It's just
I
icing on
mean,
top
I
of
would
the
take
cake.
two
He already
for the
had.
price of one.
Well, yeah. So now he gets to sacrifice one and keep one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, he hypnotizes both of them, and they're going to be his brides or whatever. Then we
That's
also
pretty
get
sweet.
the eyeball monster, which it's just this floating ball. It looks like it's straight out of Dungeons and Dragons. Pretty sure it is, but it's just a ball covered with eyes.
I mean, it does look like the Dungeons and Dragons
Yes.
eyeball monster.
And they're like trying to figure out how to fucking kill it. And Kurt Russell's like, has anyone tried shooting it?
He does, and it doesn't work.
It works temporarily. It comes back later.
Yeah, it scares them. It scares them away. The eyeball monster.
Also,
doesn't like
Egg
being
Shun,
shot.
he's carrying around this potion. Like, the whole time, he's the mystical wise man who has some kind of form of magical powers due to his Chinese mysticism. He's carrying around this gourd of potion. And at one point, Jack Burton, he's like, so what's in that? Is that some kind of magical potion that's going to help us out? He's like, yeah, exactly. Yes, it is. Then later they drink it right before the big battle. And he's like, so what is this going to do to me exactly? Huge buzz.
Huge buzz.
Huge buzz.
It's worth mentioning, since we're talking about magic potions and powers. Throughout most of the film, we already touched on it a little bit. Like, Jack Burton doesn't kick a whole lot of ass necessarily. He does shoot some people, but like overall, when it comes to like the fight sequences, Wang is like much more competent. He is like a certified badass, like going toe to toe, for the woman he loves with these like fucking gods, basically.
Jack Burton's more like the Beverly Hills Ninja version of a...
Yeah, exactly.
The other guy makes work of the bad guys while he just kind of fumbles his way through.
And I do want to touch on some more Margot resentment before we get too far. There's like a scene where they're trying to rescue Gracie, Mao, and I guess also Margot, who had gotten herself captured as well. And like Jack's on top of like the cage where Margot's stored, and she's like, "Are you gonna save me?" And he's just like, "I'm not sure." And just his delivery of it is just like, yeah, he's like, if there's time, I'll come back and save you.
So many lines are great in this. At one point, they like land in this storeroom, Lopan's storeroom, and it's full of fish. And one of the gang members just takes a bite, bites the head off the fish, and then like holds it out to Kurt Russell, and he's like, "Later."
Later.
His delivery is amazing of those. Like, I can't. So the studio wanted either Jack Nicholson or Clint Eastwood to actually play the character of Jack Burton. It would not have worked. Kurt Russell and John Carpenter, they're made for each other. Like,
they are made for each other. It's like peanut butter and jelly.
So well, it just would not have worked. It would have been a different film.
I know. I love Kurt Russell.
He adds a
so
nice little
much.
light touch to it. Everything.
Yeah, his delivery is just so good with all of these. So speaking of delivery, they drink the potion in an elevator on the way up, and they're all just like, "Hey, I'm feeling pretty good." You know, it's like
Wong Chi.
I got a positive feeling about this situation.
Yeah, they're all fucked up, and they all like give little thumbs up.
They're all fucked up. They're all like touching each other in the elevator too, like putting a hand. They're all rolling basically
right before the big
rolling
final
with magic
scene, like fight scene, and of course,
dude, Kurt Russell even's like, "Does anyone else think it's hot in here?"
Great scene. But yeah, right at the beginning of that big fight scene. So they kind of see like the wedding ceremony, and they're like, okay, wait till Lopan. At the end of this ceremony, he will become human. That's when we need to fight him. So the second he becomes human, Kurt Russell, well, first off, they like stab the eyeball monster, and that gets everyone's attention. And then Kurt shoots the ceiling, and of course, it just causes ceiling chunks to fall down on him and knock him out at the beginning of the fight. So it's kind of...
Yep. So he's out
for the first half of this. Then you get Lopan and Egg Shun, who are obviously the enemies who have been fighting each other forever. Which I guess if Lopan, apparently he dates back to the first emperor. There's some unclear mythology happening here. We're not sure if Egg Shun is also like a transcendent being who's been alive for a long time.
He's a Gandalf.
He's Gandalf. He is Gandalf.
He's Gandalf.
They basically have, like, they shoot out these powers out of their hands. Like, you know what I'm talking about? They basically play Rock'em Sock'em Robots with their powers, where they, like, project little ancient Chinese warriors who fight each other.
Yeah, it's like an astral fucking battle. It's pretty sweet.
That is pretty sweet.
Well, like, leading up to it, they're, like, riding another elevator, because this movie is just filled with fucking elevators. And, Gracie finally makes out with Jack. You know, their passion finally realized. And she's like, "Do you have a gun?" And he's like, "A knife."
It's not what you want to hear. That's not.
And she's like, "He's 12 feet tall." And he's just like, "He's 7." let's be real here. He's not 12. He's only 7 feet tall.
And he has ancient Chinese powers.
So yeah, he attempts to throw the knife at Lopan, and it like misses, and that's Mao Yin runs and like hides behind him. The Emperor picks the knife up and fucking slings it back at him, and Jack just catches it and immediately shoots it back, this time striking his foe true right between the eyes with this fucking boot knife.
Fucks him up,
dude. Fucking slays him. And that is to Jack's credit, he does kill the big bad.
He does. That's about the only thing he does.
All the while Wang is fighting Thunder, doing his best to fight this god.
And is it Thunder who like inflates all the way up and then explodes?
Yes.
That's like one of the best effects of the whole movie.
Such a
stolen
sweet
straight from
effect.
The master of the flying guillotine, but it's still so fun.
Yeah, he's like turning into a big storm cloud.
It also kind of reminded me of, what's that Monty Python movie? Where the fucking guy is in the Italian restaurant and he just keeps eating until he explodes.
Is that The Meaning of Life?
Oh, I think it is The Meaning of Life.
Meaning of Life.
Yes, that one. Similar. I like it when fat people just inflate and explode.
I saw this movie, not to get off because we're so fucking close to the end, but have you ever seen Slither? Sorry, not Sliver. Slither.
Is this the one that was made in like the 2000s?
Correct. There's a scene where a woman is impregnated with alien eggs, and she becomes a giant blob person that explodes.
Oh yeah, I love that.
And again, as always, there's some fucking anime fetish that pretty much fits that exactly. Hentai fetish, I should say.
I love it when I get new fetishes.
Yep. Well, it's not one for me. To be clear, I'm not into the idea of inflating somebody until they explode.
You're not a feeder? Like
I'm not a feeder.
Brosnan?
I'm not a Pierce. I'm not the architect. We'll call him the architect.
No shame, no shame. I'm not trying to shame any feeders out there, or feedees, for that matter.
Dude, you got a James Bond who's a feeder. Like, they've made it. There are representations there.
I wish my wife would just feed me
until you became a fat fucking immobile blob.
I mean, that is the dream. And then
until you turn into Baron Harkonnen.
Then you have a great excuse to just not do anything. To just chill, rest. I'm resting.
I'm resting. I'm resting for my morning sit up.
Right. I might try to leave this room later.
Yep.
I need my rest.
Oh man.
Just eating whole sticks of butter.
So they have some more fighting fucking scenes. They fight lightning. Rain was killed earlier, I guess, like prior to the big Lopan showdown.
I don't know how you keep track of all those guys. They're the three storms. That's just...
Well, the third and final storm, Lightning, basically pursues them after he, realizes that all of his compatriots are dead.
At the end, he kind of snubs Gracie, doesn't he? What was that about?
Who snubs Gracie?
Jack Burton.
At the very end of the movie?
At the very end of the movie.
That's just him being, like, too cool for school.
He's too cool. They're like, aren't you going to kiss her? He's like... I can't remember exactly what he said.
It's like if a girl's like, I'll see you at the dance later. You're supposed to be like, maybe you will.
Check you later.
Yeah, don't say check you later. Check you later. Check you later. No, you say some cool fly shit like, maybe I'll see you later. Maybe I'll catch you later, babe.
Check you later.
At least back then. I don't know. I don't know how to attract women anymore. I'm clueless in 2022.
I mean, yeah, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should start practicing your penis puppeteering.
That's really going to get them more than anything.
That will get them.
Yep.
Not to come back to that, but yes, we're always going to come back to that. So they save the day. They kill Lopan, they kill the three storms, and then it's over, essentially. But there is a little twist at the end, as there so often are. I feel like every John Carpenter movie has a little twist at the very last seconds, at least. This one,
yes. So as he's driving away, doing his radio, his CB host thing again, we see the fucking troll monster is like clinging onto the back of his semi.
Pretty fun.
We get him one more time.
That's a fun movie. I feel like there's got to surely be like a whole younger generation of people who have missed that one entirely.
Probably.
Go back and watch that movie. It's a cult classic. It was originally a flop, but it has gone on to have a life of its own.
Well, it's just like all of Carpenter's works in the 80s. It's just so much fun. Even The Thing, which is like, and Prince of Darkness.
The Thing errs being more serious.
It is more serious because it's a fucking analogy for the Cold War, and the Cold War was serious, which, very topical right now. But
I haven't seen Prince of Darkness, honestly.
So that's like in his Into the World trilogy, what is it? I think it's the Armageddon trilogy is what he calls it. That's
Apocalypse trilogy.
Apocalypse trilogy. Thank you, God. Fucking that all up. I should be lashed.
But you call
but
yourself
it's the second.
fan.
I know. God damn it. It's
flagellate yourself.
with my fucking penis puppet. I'm gonna fucking flagellate my back. It is the second in the Apocalypse trilogy. It is my least favorite in the Apocalypse trilogy, but not because it's bad, but I obviously am like the Thing's biggest fanboy. I gush over it constantly. And then I also just really, as I said earlier in the episode, In the Mouth of Madness is fucking sweet. I mean, it is like, it's one of the best Lovecraftian inspired films ever, but like certainly in 1993 when it came out.
Prince of Darkness. I'm on the wiki page right now. A little Lovecraftian. They're in a monastery where they discover a cylinder of liquid that they come to find as a sentient liquid embodiment of Satan.
Correct. But that's like more...
That's a cool premise.
It's more, Anglo-Christian than... A
sentient liquid embodiment of Satan. That's a little Lovecraftian.
It's sweet, too. We should watch that
Also
one.
stars Victor Wong, by the way. Who is Egg Shun, the wise Chinese man with one squinted eye. Who was also in The Golden Child, which came out basically concurrent with Big Trouble in Little China and was its main competition.
So, he really cornered
the market. I mean, that
ways.
One squinty little eye, I mean, that guy's got powers. You know what I'm saying? When you see that,
he's got powers. You know it just looking at him.
Fuck, in a Jack Kerouac novel. That guy's the man. That was one of my biggest takeaways. Victor Wong is the man.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just a little like final random nougat. I did watch the documentary that you've referenced so many times about the failed original script / making of the Island of Dr.
Oh, you
Moreau.
watched that? The Lost Soul, the doomed story of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau? Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yes.
That's a fucking good documentary. It's that
damn
is
good
so
documentary,
good.
and it's a shame that we didn't get to see that vision.
Agree, but
I mean, I hate to say it, but it just sounds like Val Kilmer kind of fucked everything up.
I feel like he's a very complicated guy who's full of contradictions himself. Who sometimes I'm like, I hate Val Kilmer, and sometimes I'm like, Val Kilmer's kind of cool. I go back and forth.
Sure. I mean, Iceman will forever
Sounds
be
like
cool,
he was kind of a douche on the set of that film. But then you also have that matched up with Marlon Brando, who's just totally insane and took that little guy and just like became best friends with him and like forced him to be in every scene.
Yeah, the 18-inch.
It's an example of actors just having way too much power on set,
but he did most of that after Richard had been removed.
I want everyone to watch The Island of Dr. Moreau, and because we will do that. I want to do that movie so bad as an episode, but I feel like a lot of people haven't seen it.
Well, and also the final product that came out is not very celebrated. It's not very
celebrated, but again, it's Marlon Brando. I mean, it's just, I still like it.
And this is Marlon Brando about the same time as Apocalypse Now. So, fat Marlon Brando.
No, it's much later than Apocalypse Now.
Oh my God.
This is in the 90s.
Right. Yeah, I guess you're right, because Richard Stanley did Hardware in 1990. And then, what was the other one? Dust Devil.
This is 1996 Marlon Brando.
Ooh, so way after Apocalypse Now.
When he's huge.
Yeah, he's very fat at this point.
And has gone totally insane. But it's also one of his best characters. Like, he invented that character. He made it so... It's such an iconic character that it was the inspiration of Mini-Me from Austin Powers and all of that. I mean...
But, like, fuck if the concept art for the Richard Stanley script didn't look sweet.
We're going to do that movie. I hope everyone can watch that movie. Possibly even watch the documentary. It's so good. I'm glad you watched that.
It's on Amazon Prime.
I do talk about that documentary often.
A lot.
But it's one of, like, the coolest production stories behind any film.
Yeah, and Braden, and, there's a lot of good production stories out there, but Braden has been talking about doing the Island of Dr. Moreau since the start of this podcast.
Since the beginning.
And every time he mentions it, he brings up this documentary about how fucking sweet it is. So I finally watched it, and it was awesome.
Good. good.
And then Richard Stanley, you know, you guys might be like, oh, I don't know that director. He's not as mainstream. Although Hardware is a cult classic movie.
Right.
He did The Color Out of Space, which is a Lovecraftian adaptation starring it stars our favorite, our fucking, one of our favorites. Nick Cage.
And Tommy
Samuel,
Chong.
but Nick Cage. Yeah. And Tommy Chong.
And we've also been talking about doing that movie since the beginning of the podcast, honestly.
So, look at this. We're connecting the dots.
We're going to get
episode.
there. We will get there, Flickers. We're going to do them all.
Yep.
We will do them all. I haven't seen The Color Out of Space, and I really want to.
It's on Shudder.
Another streaming service that I do not have, but...
Dude, that thing cost me like $3 a month. It's like nothing. It's so many good horror movies.
Man, I was BitTorrenting so many movies until I got all those letters from my internet service provider.
Threatening legal action.
Thanks for joining us, as always.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, do all the things. Tell a friend. Help us spread the Far Out Flicks word.
Google penis puppetry.
Penis puppetry. We're all gonna. If you do penis puppetry, send it in. We'll talk about your penis puppet on the podcast.
Also, let's just do a little shout out to the fans before we get off. We love the engagement we've been seeing on the socials. It's been, you know, following our unjust shadow ban by
zucked.
Facebook. Getting zucked. We got zucked hard. We got zucked.
Love getting
so
zucked hard.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we've got a nice little community.
My eyes rolled back.
There's a nice little community forming. It's beautiful.
We're building. We appreciate it. We love the love. We want to share the love. So fucking give us a good comment, dude. Fucking give us a good comment. We will give you a shout out. Just ask Superfan Troy.
Oh yeah, Superfan Troy. He gets a shout out. You didn't think we were
going to forget about you, did you, Troy?
He's going to get a shout out in every episode till the end of time.
Until the end of time. Anyways, that's it. That's it for real this time. Whew.
Thank you, Flickers, and see you next week.